This week we're talking about the 14 things that we think Disney World does better than Disneyland. This is episode 83. I'm Soraya.
I'm Aurora.
And together we're just your average Disney travelers. So, a lot of times you do see comparisons between Disney World and Disneyland. A lot of times people will ask which one's better, or, you know, there's a lot of comparisons going on. And we actually hate to do that.
Yeah. The thing is that they're both extremely different. Well, not extremely. But, like, they're very different. Okay. And they both have their own pros and cons to where it really just comes down to preference.
Yeah.
It's
like, true.
Because, like, I don't know how it's...
Yeah, and also there's a lot of, like, some of the things that we might say are better done at one, other people might say are better done at the other. So it's a lot also is just really objective. So these are the things that we think are the pros for Disney World, Walt Disney World in Florida. And you may or may not agree. Some of them I think are pretty obvious and they're pretty straightforward, everyone agrees about. But some things could be a little controversial.
Yeah.
We'll get to some and we'll see. But okay, so do you want to start or do you want me to?
You can.
Okay, so the first thing, I think this is obvious, everyone talks about it so much, the bubble. The Disney World bubble is so much bigger than the Disneyland bubble because Disney World is so much bigger than Disneyland.
Just the property itself.
Yeah, 40 square miles compared to roughly 1.5 square miles, if that, you know. So it's like, it's just so much bigger. And so Disney is able to control that entire environment so much better at Walt Disney World. And so when you go to Disney World, that's all you're doing. That's all you see. It's all you hear. It's all you smell. Anything is what's in Walt Disney World. Whereas at Disneyland, even when you're in the parks, there are some times where you will hear maybe some sirens from the street or a helicopter above or whatever, you know, and just it's not as big of a bubble. It has a bubble. It's a little bubble.
Yeah, it's a little bubble.
It's a little bubble with thin walls.
Yeah.
So I would say that for sure Disney World obviously has the better bubble. And if you're looking for that completely immersive experience where you really just go to Disney and that's all you see at all or all you experience, then for sure Walt Disney World does that better.
Yes.
That's another thing.
Walt Disney World has a better variety of things.
Yeah, just in general.
Yeah.
It's bigger. It's got 4 parks instead of 2. And so there's so many unique lands and attractions and experiences.
Mm-hmm. Even like food.
Yeah. And not just that, but
shows.
But even what else is on property. They have golf courses, miniature golf courses, water parks, shopping districts, you know, like so many more things and spaces and stuff. That, I mean, they have the sports area. And, I mean, there's just so much that's part of Walt Disney World that just gives you a variety. There is literally something for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, so you could hate going, you could just totally not be a Disney person, but go to Disney World and camp and fish and ride horses. And you'd be happy while your family is going and meeting Mickey Mouse and riding roller coasters.
Yeah.
And so it's like, really, everyone can find something that they really like there. All right, so another one that goes along this line. Basically, everything is going to fall under that variety. Or a lot of it will. But the next thing I would say is the Disney hotel options. Because Disney World, well, Disneyland has 3, but Disney World has,
like,
I can't even, now with all of I haven't even counted lately, and they've added stuff, and but there's at least 40 options that are on Disney property at Disney World.
Yeah.
Way bigger, you know, choices, more variety, different price ranges at at Disneyland, in California. They're all pretty much deluxe prices. Some of them even higher than others. Grand Californian is significantly higher than Paradise Pier, but even Paradise Pier is so much higher than any of the hotels not on Disney property. And so you're paying a premium price no matter what if you're staying on property at Disneyland. But at Disney World, there's value resorts, moderate resorts, and it becomes a lot more affordable and comparable to what you'd pay off property at Disneyland.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So Disney hotel options, definitely.
The next one on our list is Disney discounts or special offers.
And that partly goes in hand with how many hotels they have.
Yes.
They just have more that they can do with. They can be more flexible about who has discounts when, how much to offer. They also have other types of promotions, whether it's regarding dining and things like that, where they can just control so much more that they're able to offer so much, so many different varieties of ways to give discounts and deals to drive or to bring people in. You just don't see that as much at Disneyland.
Nope.
They have deals sometimes. It's just not as big and impressive.
No.
And Disney can't discount the surrounding hotels' prices. They can't tell Best Western or Marriott to lower their prices. They can only control what's theirs, and so that's part of it.
Yep.
Okay, is that the next one mine?
Yeah.
So another one would be perks for staying on property. Disneyland, now both have perks that we're waiting to come back to some extent. Some of them are coming back since COVID, but there's still some that we're waiting on, so we don't know the specifics or the details behind. But in general, there have usually been a lot more benefits for the Disney World hotel guests than Disneyland. And I still think that's going to be true. Disney World, that both of them will have extra time in the parks. We still don't know how much time that'll be for Disneyland, whether it's before or after hours. They also both will offer things like sending your packages.
Right, yeah.
But if you purchase things in the parks, you can have them sent to your hotel. Both will have wake-up calls. But Disney World, we know, is getting the benefit of having access to some of those Lightning Lane selections before the non-Disney hotel guests. We don't know yet on Disneyland. I haven't heard anything about Disneyland's, whether they have any preferential treatment for that. But in general, Disney World tends to have the better deals.
Yeah.
Better perks. So, yeah.
Next up is tours. There is a bit more.
A lot more, because right now Disneyland really just has year-round the Walk-in Walt's Disneyland Footsteps. I'm pretty sure that's the only one that's year-round. Then they'll have some holiday ones, seasonal things. But for the most part, it's just that one.
Really.
At Disney World, though, I mean, gosh, even just at Animal Kingdom, there's 5 different tours, and those are all the time. Disney or Magic Kingdom has one. They just have multiple tours. Now, I'm not counting the VIP tours because that is at both as well.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the actual 1 hour or 2 or 3 hour, or some of them are up to 5 hours, I think. But different tours that you can take when you're in the parks that give you a little bit more of a backstory, backstage pass type of view of what's going on. They vary.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah.
And you haven't done any of those yet.
Not a single one.
Yeah. I haven't done any of the ones at Disney World. I've just done ones at Disneyland. But yeah, so they used to have more at Disneyland.
They did, because they've had 3?
They used to have a music one. They used to have one that was with the landscaping
Wasn't there one that you could go up to that place in New Orleans with the...
Well, that one is still there. That's the Walk-in Walt. And it's just that they don't go to that location anymore. Okay. They've changed what location. The Walk-in Walt's Disneyland Footsteps, they have moved around kind of one of your special access points. But right now, and I believe it's back to Walt's apartment over the fire station.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyhow, yeah. So they both have tours. They're great. There's more at Disney World, more options. And because of that, you also have a variety of pricing ranges. So even if you're on a budget, there are some at Disney or Animal Kingdom at Disney World that are only $35, $45 per person. And for an exclusive, totally special, something to do that most people aren't doing or seeing, that's pretty cool. That's pretty affordable for even a family.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool. Okay. Another thing are the dining options in general, and you could go on every single category of dining options, and this would apply. Your table service, your character meals, your dinner shows, your quick service, even the snacks that are available. Because Disney World is so big, has so many different parks and different kinds of areas, there is just so much variety and so many different options for food.
Especially at Epcot.
Oh, yeah. Literally.
Epcot alone.
Around the world.
Has more than...
But, all of it. Even, where their Disney Springs, which is the bigger version of Downtown Disney. And, just everywhere. All of the resorts. And just so much different types of theming. Every single area, I get blown away. It's hard sometimes to look at the list and pick what you want to do when you go on a trip there, because there's just so much variety. But I remember when I was a travel agent, I had a client contact me at one point when they were on their trip at Disneyland, and they were trying to find sushi. They're like, where can you get sushi at Disneyland? I'm like, you can't. At least back then. Now you could. Now you can go to Splitsville, the bowling alley in downtown Disney. But at the time, you couldn't. And but you can get sushi in Epcot. Plus, they also have the bowling alley in Disney Springs, so you could get it there. So, it's just easier to find things that, just more variety.
Yeah.
And Disneyland is pretty good about variety. Yeah. It's not like it's only amusement park food.
And they're definitely getting better, too.
Yeah. But certainly Disney World, dining options across the board, you're going to just have more at Disney World. Mm-hmm. Okay. Along with that are the dining plans. Yeah, which Disneyland doesn't have anymore. They don't have a dining plan. They haven't for years and years and years. Disney World currently, it has not come back. But we assume it will, because we were told at one point that it will come back. We just don't know when. Although, very soon in the next couple of weeks, the packages for next year, 2023, are opening up for Walt Disney World, and maybe we'll see something on there about dining packages. I don't know. But in any case, whenever they come back, that is definitely something that Disney World has better than Disneyland, if that's what you need and what works for you. I think dining packages can be a great thing. I don't think they're right for every family. They're not always right for our family.
Yeah.
But we have used them in the past, and it was worth it the times we did because of what our plans were. And so I think having that option alone, whether or not it's one you need or use, that's an advantage at Disney World. It's an option to do. And if you do it, it can make things a lot more convenient and simpler, because you just wrap that into your package. It's all paid for before you go. You don't have to worry about how much extra you're paying every day for food, because it's already done and paid for. And so that's just really convenient. Disneyland, I doubt would ever bring that back, just because Disneyland's so different with their environment, where they have right across the street a McDonald's and a Denny's and all these different places that people don't need to stay in the parks to purchase their food. Whereas at Disney World, it's just so much harder to get out of Disney World to get food, that they pretty much have to stay in Disney World to eat. And then in that case, the dining package and dining plans make so much more sense.
Yes.
So, all right. Rest day options. And this goes back to the variety thing. There's so much more you can do on a rest day at Disney World. Mm-hmm. Because at Disneyland, what can you do on a rest day?
Go to the hotel pool.
Yeah.
Which even Disney World has, depending on which resort you decide to stay at, you could have a really awesome pool.
Yeah.
Or have a normal rectangle.
Right, or just a boring rectangle pool. Yeah, just depending on where you're staying. And at Disneyland, the Disney resort hotels have pretty good pools, especially Disneyland and the Disneyland Hotel and the Grand Californian. But only one or two, I can only think of a couple of the Good Neighbor hotels that have pools that stand out enough that I would say that they're really fun and exciting to go to. The rest are just plain boring rectangle pools, no theme, nothing special about them. And so really, even at Disney World, when you're at the pool alone, it's going to be usually a better pool. But there's so much more than that at Disney World. You can, like I said before, fishing. golfing, miniature golfing.
There's a boardwalk somewhere, isn't there?
Yes, there's a boardwalk. You can go and they have boardwalk type of entertainment and games and stuff on. There's just so much. You can do campfires with Chip and Dale in the evenings. They have just so much. Even if you were to go off property, there's so much as well. There's both Disneyland and Disney World, I think, are probably pretty similar as far as like medieval times and the beach and things like that you can get to. But gosh, I don't know. I think Disney
and
World.
Then the different resorts at Disney World also have their own activities.
Yep, they have movies on the lawn.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they'll have games and like story times and stuff like that for the kids. Or even if you're just staying, like going around to different resorts and looking at their lobbies.
Heck, like the lodge, Wilderness Lodge.
Mm-hmm.
It has animals outside the window.
No, Animal Kingdom. Sorry, Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Yeah,
yes, Animal Kingdom Lodge. Yeah, there's a full savannah, and
yeah,
it's so cool. And so just there's so much you can do on a rest day. You don't even have to leave the property. Definitely Disney World has that above Disneyland. The next one, is it mine or yours?
It's mine.
Yours.
Queues. The queues tend to be much better at Disney World.
Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah, and like just to list off a couple, we got Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Which at Disneyland is straight up outside.
Yeah.
And just lines.
Yeah.
And then Peter Pan, they like Disney World. Inside, you got the interactive.
Yeah, the interactive
shadows. You got Tinkerbell who flies around a bit.
Yep.
Then there's Dumbo, which you can
literally has a playground for the kids indoors and air conditioning.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, I was about to say the Honey.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't Mine Train have?
I think Mine Train, yes, it has some interactive stuff.
Yeah. So of course, okay, that's
it's not a lot. I don't think, as far as I remember.
Also, Mine Train isn't even at Disneyland. But still.
That's true. You can't compare that. That's true. But anyhow, the other thing about the queues that I like is that they tend to be a little bit more spacious and comfortable to be in. Whereas at Disneyland, some of their original rides are the queue will get really tight and narrow. And so you really, really are just in a narrow little winding path. And it's a lot more comfortable at Disney World. Most of the queues have a little bit more breathing room.
Yes.
So that's another thing I like about their queues at Disney World.
Ooh, can I do the next one?
Yeah, but before we get to that, and just because I said it, and I didn't really put this on there in any specific spot, but this will fit too. The space in general, just like the walkways, the pathways are wider.
Oh, yeah.
So even though, you might have, the same type of land, it's a little bit more open and comfortable usually, or when you're getting between lands and stuff. It's just there's more room. It doesn't feel as crowded even if you have the same number of people in the same spot at the parks. It just feels more open because it's wider.
Yes.
So that will go along with that. We'll just throw it there.
Yeah. The next one is theming details, which kind of gotta explain this one a bit more. But like, this is the one I put on the list.
You felt really strongly about, and I don't disagree.
And I guess we think that Disney World, each land, the theming, like the details that goes into the theming, is a bit more detailed or intricate than Disneyland, and I think that's partially due with the space and also the queues. Like for Fantasyland, for example, Disneyland, the queues are very much outside, so you can't really see the walls. There's not even many walls because the queues go right into the ride, and so they're more like they'll have like little, maybe like a half wall and then an open space.
You're talking about the outer wall of the attraction. Yeah. Okay.
But Disney World, there's a lot more room. The queues are mostly inside, I believe.
Right? A lot of them, yeah. You still have some that are outside, but most of them.
And so you will notice that there's a lot more wall space where you can see the different details. Like there's this one wall I remember in particular. I don't know exactly where, but it's like it's very Rapunzel themed. It had like the textures, the paint, and just in my memory, it left a lasting impression.
Right.
Because I remember in Disneyland, I just remember lots of people, and I don't remember seeing many walls.
And really, you have to look above the people to see the attractions.
You only see the roofs, really.
Yeah, the rooftops and stuff. In fact, you'll see that
they do a good job with the theming. Mm-hmm. I don't think they do a bad job. They do a great job. But Disney World, I feel like, just has the extra details.
So I feel like as you're talking about that, the two that came to my mind, and now these are newer at Disney World. They're part of what used to be, when it first came out, New Fantasyland. So they were kind of newer additions to the Fantasyland there at Disney World. But the attraction for Enchanted Tales with Belle, where it's literally like this beautiful not yard, but like the front of this cottage, and the whole, it just, I feel like it's the entire scene is just so beautiful, and that's just for you walking up to and getting into the line for the ride. Yes. Or the attraction, not a ride. The other one that stood out to me that came to my mind as you were talking about that is the Little Mermaid ride there.
I just thought about that.
Yeah.
It's like it has like all these rock formations. It's cool.
And it's got Eric's castle, and the ship, the mast of the ship or whatever. I don't know the parts of ship. Anyway, part of a ship. It's just really themed well, and the entire thing. It's just, there's so much more space that they can do that with. You wouldn't see that much space dedicated to a ride at Disneyland because they just don't have it. Mm-hmm. And so that is a real benefit and a bonus there, just the theming details. And they do have more newer lands than Disneyland because they have more parks and they're constantly adding to everything. And so I would say more of their lands are better themed just because the more current, the more recent stuff has been a lot more in depth. Like Cars Land, I felt like was the really great one that kicked it off, and that is at Disneyland. But then since then, granted, Galaxy's Edge is at both, so that counts at Disneyland as well. But that's really the two that I can think of at Disneyland.
As much as I love Avengers Campus, it's kind of like some angles it looks amazing, but then the others are like okay.
Yeah.
It's
really too bad they didn't have more space to do more there. Yeah. It's great and I love it, but yeah, it's just I don't feel like it compares to like Pandora.
Oh no, like just Animal Kingdom in general.
Yeah.
Like got Pandora and then the different like just lands like
or like Africa and Asia.
Asia. Like back to the walls.
yeah.
It's like there's so like
it's so you feel like almost like you're walking in those, you feel like you're going up the mountain and just I don't know, I just feel like you get immersed a little bit more often.
Yes.
In those areas in Disney World.
Yes.
So, all right. Okay, so the next one is transportation options. Now, I have to say that it's almost not fair because Disneyland doesn't really need as many transportation options. However, the fact that you can ride Skyliner or ferries.
Disney World, adds more. It has more than what's needed, and they're cool.
Yeah, I mean, like the Skyliner's a new addition. They didn't have it for decades, and so it was just fine. It's a great addition, and it's adding so many more options and making it a lot easier. We haven't ridden it yet, but we plan to. But just the fact that they have it is just cool. Even if you weren't going to use it to go anywhere, even if you just wanted to ride it just to go ride it, not because you were heading to a specific destination, even if it was just like part of your rest day activities is to go on those Skyliner and then to go to the monorail loop. And, it's just, I just think it's neat that they have so many different, they could have kept it to buses.
Yes.
They could have just said, well, we'll just keep buying more buses and having more buses and having, so that it cuts down the wait time. But instead, they have the buses and the monorail and the ferries and the gondola or the Skyliner. There's just so many options, and it just makes it cool. It's a ride in and of itself.
Yep.
So maybe that's not fair to say that that's better at Disney World just because Disneyland. Where are they going to put a ferry? It's like they don't need or have any option for it.
They used to have a Skyliner, but it really didn't fit.
And it was an attraction. It wasn't a transportation option. I mean, I guess it kind of was because it took you one side of the park to the other, but it wasn't.
That's transportation.
But it wasn't. Like the Skyliner is huge at Disney World, where it's taking you from resort to park and to the TTC, and like it's just huge and can take you far, miles down the road, you know. So,
yes.
Anyways, okay, it's the next one.
The Fantasmic Stadium.
Yeah.
Disneyland doesn't have one. Disney World does.
You hear all the time, we talk about how much we love Fantasmic so much, and that the Fantasmic at Disneyland is far superior, except for this one part. We love the stadium at Fantasmic, or in Disney World. It's just nice to have a place to sit.
And then where it's actually, like, performed, where they have the show, is built.
Yeah, right? it's totally dedicated to, it was built for that, So it's completely dedicated to the Fantasmic show.
Yes.
Which I think is a plus.
Mm-hmm.
Makes watching that show a lot more enjoyable and comfortable. I kind of wish they could expand it more, though. I think that there's such a demand for that show. I wish it could be, like, twice as many seats.
Yeah. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I asked you this like a half an hour before we started this. But does Disneyland have the dessert package?
Disneyland has dining packages, but not a dessert package.
Okay, I couldn't. That's
At
what
least
I thought.
for Fantasmic.
Yes.
Disneyland has a dessert package for World of Color.
Yeah, I was pretty sure that's what you said, but couldn't remember. So that's another thing Disney World does
Aurora loves the Fantasmic dessert package that we're praying comes back with Fantasmic when it comes back.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it wasn't like astronomical.
No.
But it was just, I don't know why, but it was just so nice and awesome, and
it was fun. It was fun. It was good. It did taste good.
It had a little like pudding cup that like it's like
that you
big,
can
like,
get for like a buck at the store.
Well, yeah, but they're cool.
Yeah.
You know, they're not just in a cup, but like they're on like that big like. Well, there's like a miniature version of like those big things you put on like display.
Right. It was cute. It was presented very well.
And then.
But yeah, so
the drinks were good.
The drinks were good, and you had the souvenir cups, and it was, you know, you went and you had it in the stadium, and so you had your seats well in advance, and you could just sit there and enjoy your dessert while you're waiting for the show to start, and even during the show if you wanted to. And so
they had macaroons.
Yeah, macaroons. You're right, they did. Anyhow, just the fact that they have the dessert package is really nice. That was an option that obviously Aurora really enjoyed. And so, yes, that is a plus for Disney World.
Yes.
Okay, so the last of the 14 things we were going to mention are just the shows in general, but I'm going to, for my personal preference, say the day shows, because I think the night shows are pretty comparable.
Yeah.
I feel like, I absolutely love World of Color at Disneyland. I have not yet seen the new show, Harmonious, at Epcot, but I suspect that they're going to be fairly comparable. Fantasmic, we say we like better at Disneyland, but the truth is the Disney World one, it's getting an upgrade. We don't know how it's going to be when it comes back. But in general, it's still an excellent show, and I would not hesitate going to the Disney World. I always went.
Plus, we haven't seen the new updated Fantasmic in person at Disneyland.
Well, we don't know for well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, so there's so I think they're probably we'll say they're close enough to being comparable. Fireworks, I do have my favorite fireworks shows so far that I've seen, but there are fireworks shows at Disneyland, Disney World. The current show, oh my gosh, Enchantment, is that what it's called? The new one at Disney World.
No idea. I don't keep.
Haven't seen it yet, so I can't compare. But it hasn't gotten as many great reviews as Happily Ever After or Wishes, and so. But I think that I'm going to say that all of those are a wash. I think that I would want to watch them all equally as much. I believe I would make the effort to do it. The shows the daytime shows I also really like at Disneyland, but I feel like Disney World does have more.
Yes,
because like I said, I feel like the number of shows, the kinds of shows at night, it's a kind of a wash. But Disney World does have more stage shows. As well as still like the smaller entertainment you're going to see on the streetmosphere we call them. So there's just, I have nothing against any of the shows at Disneyland because I love them all. I just think that Disney World, because of their variety of parks and the space and the more options they have, it just makes it where you have better options for shows. Not to mention, at Disney Springs, they have the Cirque du Soleil. Drawn to Life, I think is called.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And so, just adding that into the mix too. I just think in general shows you're going to have, they just slightly edge out ahead at Disney World. I think that they're just slightly better for options there.
Yeah.
You agree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Finally, this is not part of the 14, but let's just talk about the couple. There's only like 3 we're going to call out here, but there are a few attractions that we think have the edge up at Disney World. Now, we're not comparing things that they don't have at both parks. Only the things that we see at both parks, so you can actually have a comparison. But Disney World does what better?
Sorry, brain. Sorry.
That was a question for you.
Sorry.
Brain freeze?
Yeah.
Okay. Which attractions would you say are the best at Disney World?
Dumbo.
Because of the queue and because they have a double loader. Like you have twice as many capacity.
Yeah. Astro Orbiter.
And that's
because it's high up. Like it's actually on top of
a roof.
Yeah. Like on top of the People Mover attraction. Whereas Disneyland's just
it's on the ground, so you don't really get that high.
Yeah. And then PhilharMagic.
Yeah, it has that extra element of spraying you with water.
Yeah, it has like a little bit more
immersive.
Yeah, immersive 4D.
Yeah. Those would be our properties.
What's the word?
I don't know, but
quality.
Sure.
Yeah, you get the idea.
So. Those are the first ones that came to our mind as far as comparing. Those are the ones that stood out to us. Disney World does have an edge up on Disneyland for those attractions.
Yes.
But yeah, so we love both. We love Disney World. We love Disneyland. Next week, we're going to talk about the opposite side. What does Disneyland do better than Disney World?
Yep.
So it's not only love for Disney World. We have lots of love for Disneyland too. In fact, the same number, 14 things that we think Disneyland does better than Disney World. So stay tuned next week for that. Thanks for tuning in, and tell us if you agree. What do you think Disney World does better than Disneyland? We would love to hear your thoughts. And that's it for us. We will talk to you next week.
See you.